you would definitely feel some type of way if gigs had a hit and you found out it was written by someone who lived in Newcastle somewhere.
Definitely.
Especially if they were talking
Especially
about...
if they're talking about Machine
Definitely,
and other
definitely.
madness.
And I also
you're
feel
gonna
like
be
that's
but that's
because
the
it's
point,
close
though.
to home as well.
Yeah,
but like when the whole Still Dre thing, when we found out about that, did we feel some type of way, being that these are legends?
But who sees Dre as a rapper?
What's amazing about UK rap is, you know, the history of who we are and where we come from and our different cultural backgrounds, and how we influence that into our own music. Whereas I feel like Americans don't really have that. They just have America and they talk about America as a whole.
Because if someone came up to me and said Pusha T, someone wrote for Pusha T, that would spin.
Well,
I won't lie, that would spin.
He's not on the fence.
That would spin. So essentially, it's about individuality, and we all bring our own unique feel and outlook on what we believe rap is.
Oh, that's a lot of questions. All right, let me try it. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am surrounded by three kings. We're about to make history as all three individuals have told their story on Korak, but guess what? They are coming back. With having here next to me the voice of God, the man from Mauritius, and an R&B, and a rapper with an R&B soul. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Saxon, Nate Radderz, and Kiiymm.
Give it up.
Good to be here, man.
I like it. We're going to jump straight into it, people. I believe that rap is playing catch up to every other genre. One of the reasons why we're doing a live music show, rap exclusive in Korak, 26th of March, people. Get your tickets, it's in the bio. But I need to find out a lot of answers when it comes to the state of rap. And of course, with three wonderful rappers, you can always tell me what the story is. So I'm going to start with you, Saxon. Do you think rap is playing catch up to every other genre, especially in the UK?
I wouldn't necessarily say rap is playing catch up. I'd say rap has always kind of been put into a certain box, and as a resource or as a form of maintaining relevancy or just making money from it, it's kind of been exploited in that way. I think the nature of the industry is changing because technology's changed a lot of things, and it's difficult for them to be able to make the same money or have the same impact that they would have with rap as a product. So I think...
So are you saying rap is not a good product to make money, or it's not as good as the other genres?
I would definitely say that rap is a completely different product compared to the other genres. Reason being, with the other genres, collaboration in terms of songwriters, production, like there's so many different elements that comes to, say, for example, even pop music or R&B or country music, where you can have a singer, a vocalist, but you don't question whether they wrote their music or not, or you don't question the involvement of the composers or the producers or some of the instrumentalists. It's expected that all of those elements come together, and even the way the money's split in those genres is completely different from rap music. Whilst rap music at its core, it's about the individual telling a story or their story, and it's expected that that individual is speaking and writing for themselves. But the way that the industry works, especially with popular music, and rap is considered popular music, we're seeing a lot more stories of like ghost writers and things of that nature, which is acceptable with other genres, but
it's not acceptable in rap.
It's not particularly acceptable in rap music.
Well, Nate, Radderz, you've been bumping your head, agreeing with Saxon. I take it you don't disagree with anything he said. What do you think about the situation? Do you agree with him, or there's more to add, or those elements actually create why there might be the possibility rap is playing catch up?
I think it's historical. I think if you look at the 90s, where I would say rap the growth of rap sort of exploded, most of it was about the grittiness of it and the realness of what you're experiencing, what you're going through. How can you do that in this day and age with, your iPhone when you've got 4K cameras everywhere of people doing the exact same thing? So it's money. And also as well, I think it's like anything. It's once something gets taken and gets put into pop music, people love it for a certain amount of years, and then it sort of has to die down. If you look at something like Garage was massive for 20 years maybe, and then now it had a massive break between sort of like 2010 to 2020. Now Garage is coming back in the craziest way. So I think it's almost a nice thing that it's sort of going backwards in a way that we can actually relive it and rethink about how we want to bring about the new form of rap that's coming through. And there's a lot of good people, but it's so oversaturated. You need to really stand out from the crowd, and I feel like that's so hard to do in this day and age. So
Kim, do you agree in terms of, so because it's a bit saturated, historical, do you think, because rap is what, less than 55 years old? It's like you only celebrated 50 years like a few years ago. So do you agree in the sense that it's playing catch up, or are the elements that Radderz and Saxon have mentioned, do you think that there's more to it? Because you come from a different view in terms of, you're like a rapper with an R&B soul, so you're like, it's different. What would you add to that?
I say my views definitely align with Saxon and Nate. I do believe that everything has its own like season and evolution. It has to die down and rebuild itself. But I also feel like it's perception as well, because, for instance, UK R&B, that's what they call it anyway, that doesn't really have a space here. So someone in the R&B world might be thinking the same, that we're playing catch up in the R&B space. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's all about perception. Once you're in it, then you'll be able to sort of add your own feces or whatever to it, you know? So, yeah, I would agree.
do you think that UK R&B is further behind compared to other countries as well?
Why is it even called UK R&B?
And that's why I even started with that.
That's true.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a perception thing as well. But I also believe, and I think you mentioned it, Nate, it is a money thing as well. In a world where it is oversaturated, you need to be able to have the resource to be seen, which is whether that's a marketing budget, and also a budget to express your individuality through your creative expression. You know?
How much of it, when you guys talk about, being the product, so if you look at the popular rappers in the UK, and you have the Stormzy's, and you have Dave, and you have Getz, and you have Kano, and all these guys, there is, in every market, there's a hardcore, rap market. We love rap. R&B is hardcore R&B. Are the rap hardcore guys not enough to keep it flowing, that in less than 60 years, you're already talking about an evolution? I'll start with you, Nate.
I think that if you look at where they start, because it's all about the start, I think how you cement yourself in culture is super important. So people like Wiley and Getz and Kano, Skepta, all those sort of people, if you look at how they started, it was, rapping in was it Jammer's basement, and like that gritty integral part where like it fed into a culture to the point where now they can afford to do the stuff that sort of keeps that flavor relevant, because they've got the following and they've got the monetary gains from doing that. And like Skepta's working with what, Puma and people like that, so like it's not like they're sort of devoid of money, but I think now they've
how much of that work is rap though? The reason I'm asking is Ed Sheeran can sell out Wembley Stadium. There's a possibility that about 85% of the people in Wembley actually like his genre of music. Could Stormzy sell out Wembley? And even if it does, what's to say 85% of the people there are rap fans instead of just popular Stormzy fans?
Yeah, I think what you've mentioned there is kind of where it splits into the two parts. The product is completely different when it comes to rap music and then popular music or music that you mentioned Ed Sheeran makes. So it's like you said, 85% would be a fan of the actual type of music, the genre of music he makes, whilst the people that would attend a Stormzy concert would be Stormzy fans, or they happen to hear him on the radio and it's popular music, quote unquote, so they attend. I think ultimately the cultural aspect that you mentioned is what plays a big part in rap music anyway. The main component is an individual speaking to a specific group who can relate to what this individual is talking about. When it comes to popular music, the mainstay of it is, it's usually love songs or dance songs, which you can get in rap, but the difference would be popular music and the popular genres are purely to feed into like a youth culture of some sort. And then it's kind of like a vehicle for brands, for labels, to then be able to, I should have had breakfast. But yeah, it becomes a vehicle for brands, for labels, and any other form of people who've got capital invested in it to be able to make money. I think that's what kind of separates that.
Kim, you were looking at me funny when I was saying Ed Sheeran have 85%, and you were like, Stormzy, you don't agree that in terms of the people that will be there for, if Stormzy sells out Wembley, would be probably 40% rapper, and then the rest would just be, oh, it's popular. He probably will bring in Ed Sheeran on. He'll probably bring in Burna Boy. But in terms of pure rap, would you think pure rap fans will feel a Wembley Stadium?
It's tough. I do think it is, like you said, it is a product as well. And that's what majority of them will be there for. I think that kind of community is built off familiarity. So when you're building a product that's been played across the world and everybody knows the same words and everybody wants to create a moment based off familiarity, that is the product essentially, if that makes sense. You know,
But
so
when you go from, so rap, correct me if I'm wrong, because you guys know this better than me. So rap started gangster rap, right? Where it was defining a particular era, defining a particular situation, and it's probably evolved to popular rap, commercial, mumble rap, and all that good stuff. So you guys have mentioned the product in terms of what can the big brands and everybody do with the product to make it wonderful. When you see the way things are moving with rap, why do you guys think your version, or how do you think it'll contribute to make it even better? I'll start with you, Kim.
I think it's just plain individuality, isn't it? It's like a fingerprint, like they say, like your fingerprint is the only one in the world. Like, and whilst we do have quote unquote replicas of rappers that have come before us, they're the ones that I believe that have made impact are the ones that truly, they're their audience before anyone else. Do you know what I mean? So like the J Hus of the world, like being unapologetic in his African roots, like there's only going to be, I mean, you have got other artists that have similar attributes like the African accents and stuff like that. But straight away, when we think about rap with an African twang to it, we go to J Hus. Do you know what I mean? So essentially it's about individuality, and we all bring our own unique feel and outlook on what we believe rap is.
Stop answering for both of them. Answer for yourself.
No, but that's what I would say anyway. Like for me, I can appreciate other rappers, and I always would look at that world like, okay, so what makes me different? What can I bring to this world? Do you know what I mean? And over the years, I've identified that, like, yeah, cool. I like to rap, but I also like rhythmic influenced beats. My delivery is different because I guess how I'm trying to tell the story is very much different to most rappers that I've come across. So for me, that's my fingerprint, my style, my outlook, my spiritual delivery. Everything is a package that makes me different. That separates.
Need Radderz, what is your fingerprint?
I like that.
That's a good one.
I think, 100%. It's definitely individuality. That's the main thing. But also you tapped into it a little bit there. Like when you hear different beats, one of my favorite things about rap is we could put a beat on now and straight away all three of our minds will go somewhere completely different in terms of the lyrics.
Come watch, people.
Yeah, you'll have to
come watch, people. There's going to be some beats and freestyling. Yes.
But yeah, that's the beauty of it. If like I can hear a beat and think, oh, I need to do something quite emotional or lovey, whatever it is, and then Saxon will hear it and go, no, I'm going pure drill and grime on this and gangster, and like, or even to. I also think like if you look at all the people that you find that are really popular and really do well in what they do, their main thing is that people try and put you in the same box as them. So I'd say, and I don't mean this disrespectfully at all, I mean it as a compliment. I think about sort of like Dutch and gigs and people like that, when I hear your voice, it's so like powerful, but at the same time, your music isn't like theirs at all. So like, that's the beauty of like influences, and like, you can see how people have been touched by different like what other people are doing. So like that integral part of like your unique sound is like I'm a little bit of this meshed with a bit of this. So yeah, I think just confidence, man. That's what it's about, this game. And I think I want to bring confidence. I want to bring some truth to it, and also, you know, just some good songs, man. Just a vibe. That's it.
Voice of God. What is your fingerprint?
For me, the transition into making like rap music has been because I started off writing poetry. I felt poetry was a way for me to be able to better communicate for myself if I can take ideas in my mind and I'm able to put them on paper, and another individual is able to receive what I'm saying and at least visualize or come to their own understanding of what I've said. I thought, yeah, I'd be better at communicating, and then taking that into rap has meant that I kind of have the freedom to kind of do what I want with the music, whether that's doing something that's a bit more spoken wordy or doing something that is purely poetry and it flows with the instrumentation, or if it is structuring verses or bars in a certain fashion to be able to deliver a different energy, a different sort of feel to the music. So I feel that's kind of been the fingerprint for me. It's kind of like poetry's helped me to develop a discipline where creating the music, I have freedom with it. So there's stuff that I can write when I'm rapping that if I give it to a vocalist and they sing it, it sounds like something that, it sounds emotive and it's something that they can be drawn to. So I feel like poetry has given me that freedom because it's given me the chance to be able to really communicate my thoughts in a way that I can suit it to whatever the circumstance needs to be. But tying it back to what you were saying even about the history of like rap music, with like Sugar Hill Gang with like the hip hop, it was like disco feel, like party music initially. And then you had the likes of like NWA who kind of burst through with the more aggressive gangster rap stuff. And then that kind of spawned the likes of like Tupac and Biggie and everyone from that sort of time. And then you also had your Public Enemies around that time, like just before Tupac and Biggie. And then after that, you had the 2000s with the 50 Cents and everybody else. Yeah,
Do you not think it's crazy though that we straight away, when we think about the history of rap, we always talk about Americans?
I don't think that's crazy.
You just took that right out of my mouth.
No, but I think
I don't think that's crazy though.
It's about people. You said it's about history, right? So it started in America, right?
Yeah. So you can't take that away from us. But I feel like even from sort of late 90s, 2000s, the UK had rappers.
Yeah,
but
it did have a rap scene, but we could even argue that the French rap scene was bigger than the French rap scene is the second largest
largest
rap scene in the world, second largest market in terms of sales numbers and listeners after America. You got.
What does the UK like? Top 5?
The UK is probably in the top 5. It's probably.
We'll have to fact check that, but we'll see. We'll see. But so I mean, it's a good point you mentioned. Once people hear rap, they talk about Americans, and is there that comparison to? So there's a standard in everything you do, right? People go, and it usually happens. Maybe the first person raises the standard so high. So Americans are very well known for hip hop. People think that a lot of people believe that's where it starts from. So there's probably that comparison when you guys in the rap scene, especially in UK. Do you probably think they look at it and go, okay, this guy is good, but we need to compare him to somebody? So you mentioned when you hear Saxon's voice, he reminds you of a few other guys, even if it's different.
Yeah.
You
might hear Kiimm's voice, somebody say, oh, he reminds me of, I don't know, Talib or somebody, and different things like that. So do you think there's that automatic comparison to what everybody believes the standard should be? Or is it just there's American rap and there's UK rap?
I think there's definitely something that differentiates it. But at the same time, I think what's amazing about UK rap is, you know, the history of who we are and where we come from and our different cultural backgrounds, and how we influence that into our own music. Whereas I feel like Americans don't really have that. They just have America and they talk about America as a whole. Whereas here you can have someone who's, you know, half Nepalese and like half, I don't know,
Nigerian.
There's Nigerian mix. There's a lot of Nigerians in the room.
There's always a Nigerian in the mix.
Yeah, so like
there are two here, so I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, I know.
Majority rules.
Yeah. But like, yeah, I think that's a beautiful thing, is that we can connect that, and also people that aren't from that, because we grow up in such a or we're surrounded by such a multicultural sort of place. Like, you know, I've got friends that are Somalians and friends that are you know, like Guyanese and Nigerians and whatever it is then that's just Africa. Like, we can talk about the whole of like Portuguese and French and whatever it is. Like, you've got all these people that influence your style of music and what that can bring to it. And I think that's something that UK does really well. Even when it comes to sampling, I think England is brilliant at sampling because we take music from all over the world. Not that Americans don't as well, but I feel like we've got a slightly more multicultural hub.
So you're
here.
saying like our scope is much wider than
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I feel like and it's not a diss to Americans. We love Americans, but they're very like America is the be all end of it's everything. Whereas I feel like being part of Europe, we're very like, well, we can sort of see all the other aspects of the world and bring that into it. And that's, I can appreciate that even if I don't understand it.
Do you, Kim, do you compare yourself with anybody in terms of, I mean, I know you can draw motivation and be inspired, but when you started your rap journey, speaking about comparisons, is there a standard you mark yourself against?
That's an interesting question.
Yeah, that is an interesting question.
Yeah.
I think now more than ever, I would say to you that what I would say is that UK, we have one of the greatest musicians. And I think when you're busy looking and comparing, that's when you're not able to lift off. Do you know what I mean? We're not able to, it's the same thing like I was talking about the UK R&B. When you're always constantly comparing, then you're not feeding, you're not nurturing the realm, the skill, whatever you want to call it, you know? So for me, it's like, if I'm able to put together a good song, which I feel is good, that's good. I don't have to now go and compare it to Biggie or whoever, do you know what I mean? Obviously, there is a standard to some extent because that's just, I guess, something that to some extent my ear has been trained for. Just like the past musicians, whether that's the UK Kanos, the Biggies, whatever. But all in all, once you get the gist of what good is to you, go and run with it. I don't think you have to now keep on saying, wait, hold on, like, is this that standard? Is this that standard? No. As a movement in the UK, we have, I would say, one of the greatest rappers. Honestly, I'm not looking at America when I'm so involved and so invested into the UK that I haven't even got time to listen to US artists, you know?
Do you mark yourself, Saxon, to a particular standard?
The reason why I said that question is really interesting is because you're asking yourself about the product and whether it's marketable in the market and whatever you're trying to push it in. So is there a market standard? Is there an industry standard of mixing? Is there an industry standard of sound quality? Is there an industry standard of how music is supposed to sound so you can put on a radio? You have those questions that you ask yourself. And then from an artistic standpoint, if you ask anyone who feels like what they're doing is their discipline, it's what creatively that they do, there's rules and guidelines to follow, but they're not necessarily things that are meant to be so rigid that it blocks off your creativity.
Exactly.
Because then what you're trying to do is make a cookie cutter product for a production line to be marketed and to be sold. An element of that is true in what we do. But if you're saying that you're an artist, your only standard is what did you want to achieve? You know that sometimes what you set out to achieve isn't necessarily what you're going to get, but are you actually happy with the end product itself? So I think depending on what I've tasked myself to do, if I want something that is radio playable, then the standard is obviously whatever meets the necessary threshold for file size, mixing and mastering quality or whatever. But if I'm intending to do something that's purely creative for myself, the only standard that exists is whatever I've set out in my mind.
This is a good segue, Nate Radderz, because I want you to answer this, because talking about what he's talking about standard and what you need to produce, where do you then come in with the people that think if you don't write your own music, you're not a true rapper? If you don't, some people say, oh, Stormzy is a sellout because he's gone commercial and, you know, stuff like that. He's not staying true to the spirit of rap. So where does that all come in? First of all, do you mark yourself at the standard? Lots of questions here. Mark yourself at the standard. is there one true pure way of rap in terms of, and do you believe you're a bit not a proper rapper if somebody else writes your song for you?
Well, that's a lot of questions. All right, let me try it. All right, so
It gives the other guys will be thinking.
Okay, cool.
Thinking about it.
I think Storms is an interesting case actually, because I think if you're looking at pop music, you're looking at same thing about marketability. And I think one of the things about rap is a lot of people might be talking about stuff that isn't marketable. So if you're, a major recording label and you're trying to put out music, are you going to go with the person that is talking about a very specific style if they don't have a massive following to deny the fact that they talk about a certain subject that might not be marketable? Whereas I feel like Stormzy did that at the beginning, but because of his personality, his looks, and also his sort of how people respond to him, that's why he's been able to be as popular as he is. And also his music is great. So whether you agree with the other aspects of it that people think about business-wise, then, I think at the end of the day, personality counts for everything. Even people like they're not in the rap game, someone like Lewis Capaldi is hilarious, but I think that helps him be more marketable than his music allows. In terms of like standard, I think it 100% depends on what you set out to do in the first place. I think if you set out to create a piece of art and it's not for everyone else, because I think art is very personable, and whether you are able to sell that or not is one thing, which is I think why if we look at other aspects of art, so like painting and stuff like that, it's some painters are really amazing and they get loads of their work sold and get lots of money out of it. Whereas I feel like music is very personal, and you can talk about something that maybe you haven't hit that fan base for that style of thing, or even that it's openly acceptable. If you're talking about something that people don't want to talk about, sometimes people latch onto it, and some people will say, no, I don't want to hear that in my day-to-day life. So it's super, complex in how people retain music and retain, their what they
art.
listen to. Yeah, their art.
Well, just give you a breather because
go on,
you've been going. I'll go to
go
Kiiymm
on.
first. Kiiymm, if I write a good song for you,
Mm.
you actually look at it, it meets your standard. You're like, this is fire. The beats are good. Do you still feel I didn't write it myself, so I feel like a bit of a letdown? Does that happen? I'm asking that because there's a lot of people that will say, oh, I'm only rating this guy because he writes his own music. This other guy, nah, he has a ghostwriter. Where do you come in that?
If I'm being completely honest in this room,
We're hoping that you are a safe space. No police.
Like, look, I don't. For me, it's a tough one, but I don't look down on any artist that someone goes and writes a song for them. If the song's great, the song's great. Like Kanye did I Better Find Your Love for Drake. That was a hit. The finished product was sick. As I guess where I've not been, it's kind of like cross the bridge when you get there. I haven't been exposed to that, to someone writing a song for me, and I've been able to process it and have the finished product in front of me and be like, yeah, let's run with it. For me, where my practice has been for as long as I can remember, I'm writing my own songs, and as you said, it's a personal thing. It has to come from me.
Sounds like you're sitting on the fence here.
No, but it's true. But two things can be right at the same time
and wrong at the same time.
Well, I beg to differ. But I'm saying, I think we all agree that, like I said, that song by Drake that Kanye wrote was a hit. You're not now going to turn around and say, I'm not listening to it because he didn't write the song.
No, you listen to it, but it's a thing of like respect, right? So people always mention how Jay-Z doesn't write down anything. He just comes into the studio, he spits, he remembers. Snoop Dogg was like, me and Dre were in the studio.
Yeah.
They still Dre beat.
Yeah.
They had no clue what to do. This guy comes in and writes the whole thing.
Yeah.
Now, I think because of Snoop and Dre, everybody knows they can do their own thing. They can write their own music. So I don't think any disrespect or lack of respect was there that Jay-Z wrote a song for them. But especially when it comes to rap, when you're mentioning the different elements, people always seem to have this, he's good. I mean, I think I remember Busta Rhymes saying, I only read rappers that write
their own songs.
Where do you stand with that?
If you're saying that your work is true to who you are, then you're supposed to write your own stuff.
Yeah.
That's the only way
But
that your work can be true to who you are.
I could express something that I know of you in words that people understand better than you might in a particular situation.
Mm-hmm.
Where does that lie?
Well, then
Jump on the song with him.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Again, it's also the kind of, that's why I said I am. Well, that's why it might seem like I'm on the fence, because it depends on the kind of artist you are. Like, do you know, at the end of the day, Drake is Drake for many reasons. Obviously, he's marketable, etc., etc. But also, he's able to have that resource around him where someone like Kanye can come and give him a song. Do you know what I mean? Whereas you might not be that kind of artist where you want people to write your own songs for you. Do you know what I mean? So respect is due. Like, cool, you took the song and you made it yours. Whereas I haven't been in that position to process that, nor would I feel or imagine that I would take likelihood to that, because I've written my own truth all these years.
I think an element of that is like I Better Find Your Love in the Tune by Drake.
Yeah.
More than anything, it's not necessarily about Drake's life though.
Mm-hmm.
It's, as you mentioned, it's a hit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the purpose of it was purely for it to have commercial success.
Exactly.
So that product needed to sell. In order for that product to sell, you look for the guy who can write a particular thing.
Exactly.
You look for the individual who can produce a particular thing. Then you look for the individual who's got not only the voice, but also has the necessary backing.
Mm-hmm.
You put all of that together. It's a team effort.
Exactly.
You have the hit. The majority of hits that work in that function, that are pushed out, and that tune, I Better Find Your Love, is not necessarily a rap tune.
Exactly.
He's singing on the majority
It's a
of
pop
it.
song, really.
It's a pop song. If you wanted to say it's an R&B song.
From a rapper though.
True.
So
yeah, but it's in that moment, the difference that separates Drake is the fact that he also does R&B.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, if he was, you would definitely feel some type of way if Giggs had a hit and you found out it was written by someone who lived in Newcastle somewhere.
Definitely.
Especially if they were talking
especially
about...
if they're talking about Machine
Definitely.
and other
Definitely.
madness.
And I also feel like that's...
but that's
because it's close to home as well.
Yeah,
but like when the whole Still Dre thing, when we found out about that, did we feel some type of way, being that these are legends?
But who sees Dre as a rapper? Even when he was...
I'm talking about Snoop here as well.
Was all of his stuff written by...
Yeah, everything written by Jay-Z.
Snoop
said we had no idea what to do here. This guy sat down and in 10 minutes he wrote the whole song.
I'm sure.
But the way, and that's the thing I was saying, because the way Jay-Z is writing it like it was them.
We might need to fact check that, because I know from what I understand, Dre has writers. That's accepted. It's totally understood. He is Thomas Edison when it comes to production. He's the face of it. He might get this guy to do drums. He might get this guy to do sampling. But at the end of the day, Thomas Edison says, "This is my invention. I've patented it." Dre says, "I'm the producer. I've executive produced everything. This was the vision I had, and I've brought it together." So him having Jay-Z
look at Kanye.
Makes sense.
Look at Kanye.
But Kanye still sits in that same sort of sphere.
Oh, but when he first came out in his early years,
he was always
Consequence.
But he was always a producer and a rapper.
Yeah.
When we're talking about a purist,
okay,
that's
if we're talking about pure rappers,
if
we're talking about pure rappers,
name me a pure rapper who you regard highly, that if he would have someone else write for him, you would look at him and still say they are a pure rapper.
And maybe that might be the point then. Maybe that might be the point.
Maybe
that
we need to differentiate. And bars should be written by the person, and everything else.
Because if someone came up to me and said Pusha T, someone wrote for Pusha T, that will spin.
Well,
I won't lie. That will spin.
He's not on the fence.
That will spin.
He's
we
not
just
on the
need
fence.
to separate.
Yeah, we just need to separate. I think that is what it is. We do need to separate.
I don't mind if someone comes writes a hook for me, but if I'm talking about something that's happened to me, I don't want someone else. And I also think there's elements of it you can take. So like, if you're having a conversation with someone and they tell you something that you're like, oh, that's actually a bar. I'm gonna put that in. Or like they send you something, you think, oh, I can put that in. That's because that's almost just like referencing, or you know, almost like verbal sampling. So that's all right. But I think it's, if someone's written an entire verse for you, I almost feel sort of guilty.
Cheated.
Yeah, like I feel like dirty. Like I shouldn't have.
Man
I shouldn't have
said
spat that anyway. I
you-
feel dirty. I need a shower.
I
man.
love this honesty.
Huh? No, it's
Yeah,
true
yeah,
though.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
Do you find that it's only in rap, in terms of the genre of music, that only this conversation happens? Because I don't think it happens in any other genre of music. R&B guys are happy for anybody to write music for them.
That's because of the state of where those genres are.
Yeah,
Rap as a product is tricky for the industry because the guys who are rappers and from a certain demographic and background who live a certain lifestyle is they're risky investments. Whilst with the other genres, it's all been about artist development. You'll be incubated. This person writes incredibly well.
Yeah.
If you're a shit writer, doesn't fucking matter. He writes well. She writes well. You're going to work together to create this product. We have chosen you because A, you have a good voice.
You're marketable and all that
And
stuff.
you're marketable. But then you had the game change, Milli Vanilli, lip syncing. So at that point, you're even seeing the industry isn't necessarily about an individual with talent. It's about pushing a product.
yeah,
Now with those other genres, because it's purely about pushing a product per se, no one actually cares.
yeah.
Whilst rap as a resource, the only way I can describe it is like, because it's an American thing. It's based on majority African Americans, and then you have the Latinx, and then you have the Caribbean influence with toasting. Like, so there's a debate that those that have about that. They can finish the debate, but it's an American resource, right? And at the very core of it is African Americans from a particular socioeconomic background doing something with what they have, and now it's seen as marketable. So it's like, cool, how do we market that? But if you're still having to tap back into that culture, and that culture is the one that stamps it to say that it's verified or certified, there's certain elements that need to remain, and there's always going to be a particular struggle that comes with that, because the very essence of it was, this is this person's story. Or you heard someone say something crazy and it's like, oh, this has inspired me to do X, Y, Z. But it comes from that person projecting whatever's in them or that has been drawn from wherever they're from to push it out. So I feel it's a very different conversation. If you're trying to do a song of whatever format that involves so many different people, it then kind of deviates from it being rap.
So would all three of you say you're purists?
I'm a poet. I write poetry. So for me, if you're gonna write poetry, like you're writing, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're writing.
Nate?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think when it comes to production, I'm probably not a purist, which I feel like is fine.
No, but your
But-
production's cool.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I fuck with his production, so it's
appreciate
like, yeah.
But as a rapper, I think I have to be. And I don't want to do anything but that. I think the only thing that I think we can all agree on that we might take is ideas for flows or sort of rhythmic ideas. Because I feel like I get inspired when I hear a song. Sometimes it's not about what they're talking about. It's about the flow that they've caught or like how they fit into a pocket. I might try and emulate that, but with my own words so that it actually means something to me. But just quickly as well, going back that, we're saying, is this the only conversation that happens in music? The only other conversation I've ever heard that is similar to this is metal music. So for metal music, it is wrong if a guitarist's part is written for them. So if a guitarist gets given a riff, they're like, what are you talking about, man? That's your whole bread and butter. You need to have... Whereas like anything else, the lyrics doesn't matter. They don't care about that.
Give a fuck,
But
they don't give a fuck.
guitar riffs, if you get that written for you, they're like, that's criminal. You shouldn't be doing that. So...
Are you a purist, Kim?
I am a purist, but I can understand the kind of business depending on what it is that you're trying to accomplish in this realm. You're going to have to be, or depending on the level of success that you want to attain, some people may have to be open-minded, whether that is a chorus that's been created for them. But for me personally, as a rapper, I wouldn't want anyone touching my pad. That's me. That's my experiences, So
Well, it's all good. I mean, I think there are lots of questions we can dig into when it comes to the rap thing, but we'll be here forever. And I can see the passion flowing through. But on the 26th of March, you boys will be at the Korak Rapper's Delight, bringing a good light to rap music, making rap great again. If we can steal that, people, please buy your tickets. Just to finish off, one of the things that I want to know. So, with the different evolutions of rap, as I said, gangster rap, mumble rap, commercial. Where do you guys sit? Where would you say you sit in? So, Kiiymm, you're a rapper with an R&B soul. Yes, you're a rapper, but in terms of where would you say you sit in the evolution of rap so far?
As in,
Are you a gangster rapper?
no.
Are you a?
I'm a rapper with R&B soul. It does what it says, you know, on the tin.
Yeah, facts.
What would you put under R&B? Do you know what I mean? Like expressive emotions, smooth to some extent, you know? And then you merge that with the aggression of rap, you know, you merge that with the flow of rap. It's hybrid. That's just where I sit.
Nate?
Rapper with R&B soul.
I think what I imagine for myself and what I've been told are two very different things. So I think that's something that I'm dealing with at the moment and trying to understand that conflict. So I get a lot that I sound a bit like the streets, and that's the sort of style of writing and how I speak, which is obviously, I'll take that as a compliment all day.
Yeah, big time.
But in the same vein, I think where I'm sort of trying to move more towards now is that sort of the lighter side of rapping and like integrating a bit of R&B and like integrating some soul stuff, because that's what I was brought up on. So I feel like I need to sort of go back to those roots a little bit. But I think the thing I love most about when I find an artist is the development and how they change over time. And you might fall in love with an album, but it's how they develop over time. Like Mac Miller is one of my favorite artists of all time, but when he started compared to where he finished, it's two completely different styles, and like the weird tangents he went in the middle. I think that's the beautiful thing about music. So I don't know, let's see.
Saxon?
Space for creativity. In terms of,
Where do you sit in the evolution of rap? Or like Kiiymm, have you created your own chapter? Because when they're looking at it back in the future, when you guys are all great and wonderful, and please invite me for all the great parties, they'll be like, oh, rapper and R&B, so yeah, Kiiymm started that. Nate Radderz, representing the streets, he started that. Saxon. Where will Saxon live?
For me, I just want to create things that I'm happy with, like music-wise. It's poetry. I've been told a lot of my stuff sounds like spoken word. And then there's some of my stuff that's not particularly spoken wordy either. There's some stuff that I do that's acoustic, where it's just me and the guitarist, and then the stuff that we've done with the band. I don't know. I think it's an interesting one. I see what I do is writing poetry. If I had a higher tone of voice, I'd sing.
You want a higher tone of voice more than this? Nah, bro. Nah, man. We don't need that. I'm sorry.
If I had a higher tone of voice, I'd definitely sing, because I feel there's a certain level.
I got one for you. So you have Kiiymm, rapper and R&B soul. Nate Radderz, representing the streets. Saxon, the voice of God with feelings.
I ain't gonna hold you.
Copyright,
that's great.
People. Copyright, sell it on a t-shirt. I like it. Well, people, thank you very much. This is just part one. We're going to do this again. Rapper's Delight this is the first one for Korak. As you guys know, I believe the best form of music is live music, and of course having three great rappers to come and tell their story and make rap great again. So people, please buy your tickets. Any last words, people, before we end?
I'm looking forward to being able to not only perform with these guys, but being present to be able to take in their artwork, their actual creativity, the time that they set aside to do what they do. Being able to experience that as a listener is something that I'm looking forward to.
Bro, you need to write marketing. That was gold. That was liquid gold.
I mean, but on the real, I think being able to experience art is always a great thing. So I'm looking forward to, do you know what I mean, being able to see both of them perform, bring the energy that they're going to bring, do their music. And yeah, just looking forward to being in a good space. It's always a good time at a Korak event. Always a good time.
Yeah. Likewise, man.
If you ain't been to a Korak event,
come through already.
Trust me.
You've been missing out.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
Do you know what I'm saying?
And it's one thing, like you said, it's one thing like getting to know each other personally.
Yeah.
But then another thing, actually seeing each other like through this journey from the rehearsals to the podcast to the
Yeah,
actual going on
yeah.
stage, you know. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that for sure, man.
And I'm looking forward to this seeing a delivery, man, and a hard work that's gone through
Yeah,
with the
yeah,
whole team.
literally.
So it's gonna be amazing show,
Yeah.
and I love seeing a chance for. I think it's hard, man. You don't get a lot of chances to network like this that feels so natural. So it's nice to meet two artists rather than two people that are just spitting over some beat that's come through 1,000,001 times. You know what I mean? So it's exciting.
Well, there you go, people. Rappers Delight, 26th of March, people. Buy your tickets, use all the codes you can use, and bring all your friends at 10. It has been another episode of Korak, people. Rappers Delight. I'm MC Sabi Boy. Martins.